Okay, good evening to all.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening. So let us start today's class. Yesterday we had a completed three concept. Just recall once again. Yesterday we completed the concept of latitude, then longitude, then the time zone. Okay, and today we are going to look the chapter 2, that's about oceans and continent. Once again, keep it in your mind that we are going to learn the sixth standard NCERT new book. So no need to think we are going to discuss a very big concept here. Already you have learned it in the school times. So similar thing we are going to recall. Okay, so let's start now. So wait for 2 minutes. Let me share the another folder. Wait. Yeah. So now it is visible now. Okay. So here, this is ocean and continent. Every chapter in the new NCERT they begins with some of the famous poets or some of the famous authors quote. So here also the quote start from like Jules Verne. Okay, he is the French novelist. He is describing about the ocean. Okay, so you read after me. The ocean is everything. It covers 7/10 of the terrestrial globe. So terrestrial globe in the sense a three-dimensional spherical scale model of the Earth. That is a terrestrial globe. So its breath is pure and healthy. Okay, here he is not talking about the human and other things. So only the entire ocean he is describing as a poetic way. It is an immense desert. Immense means very big. Okay, a ocean is according to him he describes the ocean is an immense desert where on the desert the man is never lonely. He's not alone and he feels life stirring all around. The ocean is a vast reservoir of nature. The globe began with the ocean, so to speak, and who knows if it will not end with it. This is what a poetic way he has described about the ocean and the continent. Okay, so then you are looking on diagram or on picture here. Okay, so this picture has been taken from the space. Here it is mentioned the Earth seen from space, photographed by the Lunar Reconnaissance Orbiter. LRO, one orbiter was there. So the from the moon, it captured the Earth. So Earth looks like this. Okay, so one side of the Earth here they have focused mainly on the Pacific Ocean. So this is Pacific Ocean. This is Australia. This is India and a part of the Asia and Europe. Okay, and here at the bottom it is Antarctica. This is Antarctica, and then Africa on the left side is Africa. Okay, so this is what Earth look like from the outer space. Here two color you observe. one is in the blue, okay, and the major colors, another one is in the brown. So this is, you know very well, the blue colors depicts about the water, and 3/4 of the area is covered by water, and 1/4 of the earth covered by the land. So that is mentioned by the brown in color. This mention or look like in brown line color. So this is what in the next paragraph describes. So look, so this is what I said. The picture of the earth seen from the moon. What's the most widespread color you see? That's a blue, obviously blue. Why? Because it represents the water. Why it is this largest widespread colors are look like water? Because the most of the earth surface is actually covered with water. The most of the earth means around 3/4 of the surface. Okay, around 75%. 3/4 of the earth, around 75% surrounded by water. Okay, that is why when seen from the outer space, the earth appears mostly blue. Indeed, early astronauts lovingly called the earth as a blue planet. So this paragraph says. Then, what is ocean? The largest water bodies we see on the globe are called oceans. In Tamil, that's the largest water. That is why in Tamil we used to call Perungadalgal. Okay, and Perungadalgal, that's the largest water bodies. But in the picture, you can see at least one other color. Another one color is there, that is brown. This color is that of the land, which is covered little over. That means 1/4 of the earth covered with the land. That means 25%. So a large body of the land we are calling it a landmass. And a large continuous expanse of the land is called continent. This is the difference between landmass and continent. Okay, so once again recollect the things which I said now. So why we are calling it blue planet, then what is called oceans, then difference between land mass and continent. It's a continuous expanse of land. We are calling it as a continent. So the both oceans and continents, it plays an important role in the shaping of the climate and earth. Okay, they are, because depends upon the continent, depends upon the nature of the ocean, it affects the climate also. That is what they are telling. Okay, and if it is affects the climate of the earth, means obviously it will affect the life, including all plant and animals and human beings also, and indirectly it will affect the culture of the particular community where it is living. Okay, this is what they said. And here one green box is there. It talks about our Indian Navy. So our Indian Navy motto is Sam No Varna. Okay, some points you noted down if you are having a notebook. Okay, this has been taken from the Sam No Varna. It has been taken from the Vedic text or the Vedic literature, or we can say from Vedic age, where it comes under Taittiriya Upanishad. This word has been taken, the statement has been taken from Taittiriya Upanishad. So before independence, our emblem was different. With the crown was there, that the crown was replaced with the Ashokan capital, lion capital. And before independence, our navy was called as Royal Indian Navy. Okay, that is not that important, but it just came to know. And this talks, this Upanishad, especially Sam No Varna, it praising the god Varna Bhagavan, you know, Varna. Okay, this invocation up to Varuna. Okay, so what is the meaning of this one? It has been given. Be auspicious to us, O Varuna. Okay, that means may the Lord of the ocean, the Lord is Varuna Bhagavan. Okay, so be auspicious, be more gracious to us, unto us. This is what the meaning says. This is additional information, okay, about the Indian Navy. So we'll move on to the next page. How the land and water has been distributed on Earth. So look two pictures, maps on the Earth, as we seen above from the North Pole and the South Pole. Okay, as it's happened, ocean and continents are not distributed equally between the northern and southern hemisphere. Okay, if you are having globe at your hand, or if you are able to imagine the globe, you can see the land and water are not equally distributed between the northern hemisphere and the southern hemisphere. This is what because when majority of the lands are in the northern hemisphere, so majority of the water portions are in the southern hemisphere. Okay, this is what from the diagram you can see, and some of the terms they have mentioned here. So what's the difference between sea, bay, and gulf? Already we have seen the definition for ocean. Ocean is a large water body we have seen. And what is the sea and bay and gulf? Just to make it, if you are having you noted down some of the main point or main difference between these three. Sea means it's a massive body of the salt water. Okay, it's a massive body of the salt water. So bay means a broad inward curve of the coastal line. Okay, I will explain the diagram. Okay, yeah, bay. The sea means a massive body of the salt water. Salt water, and bay means you just keep it in your mind, the Bay of Bengal, a broad inward curve of the coastal line. Inward curve of the coastal line. Then Gulf means a large, deep, empty space of the sea. A large, deep. You remember the Gulf of Kutch. A large, deep, empty space of the sea into the land. Okay, for here example, in and around our India, we can say this is the Arabian Sea. We can say Arabian Sea, and Bay of Bengal. We can take the example. A cloud-like structures was there, Bay of Bengal, and Gulf, the Gulf of Kutch. We can take it is in Gujarat. Okay, and some more definition if you want. A sea means a partially enclosed by land. It's a partial in land, partial enclosed. Enclosed by land. And a wide open into the major sea or bigger sea. Wider open into the major sea. Okay, if you remember the Arabian Sea, a wide open into the Indian Ocean, right? Then in Bay of Bengal, we can say a land wrapping around the three sides, the bay. The land wrapping around three sides. Okay, look the Bay of Bengal, you will understand. In the northern side, in the western side, and in the eastern sides, and again at the same time, somewhat similar definition between the sea and Bay of Bengal. It's also open in the large sea. Okay, in the Indian Ocean. But only the difference, the inward curve structure will be there in the coastline when we compare to Bay of Bengal and Arabian Sea. And Gulf means highly enclosed by land. Highly enclosed by land. And in the case of sea and bay, a wider open, okay, a broad open will be there. But here is a very narrow opening. Very narrow opening to the sea. So this is the difference between sea and bay and Gulf. So some of the questions you can answer here. So which hemisphere holds more water? By comparing these two diagrams, this one and this one, which hemisphere holds more water? Already I said in the beginning. Okay, northern hemisphere have more land, southern hemisphere have more water. Around 81% of the water in the southern hemisphere. SHP, southern hemisphere. Okay, and covered by oceans and seas. So southern hemisphere holds more water. Or you can, if it is northern hemisphere and southern hemisphere, if you write like this, and this is water. Water is around 61% in the northern hemisphere. So land means remaining. Land around 39%. In the southern hemisphere, water is 81% and land is remaining the 19%. But altogether, entire globe, entire Earth means globally 71% is water. And around 29% is covered with land. It is a general difference between these two. Then another question: what do you think could be the approximate proportion of the water to land in the northern hemisphere and in the southern hemisphere? So appropriate proportion means this is the proportion how the land and water has been distributed. And are all the oceans connected with one another? Yes. Okay, all the oceans are connected with one another with narrow strip or here and there. That we will see in the map. Then we'll move to the next one. And here some picture they have given: coral reef, and that means marine life, starfish on the sea anemone. This is also one of the marine invertebrate animal. The sea animal means. Then shark, then sperm whales, mother and baby, then dolphins, everything you know. And Bonaire sea turtle, it's a place. And penguin and algae. Okay, so the ocean together hold most of the water available on the planet, but this sea water is salty and unfit for consumption by most land and animal, including humans. On the other hand, freshwater makes up very small portion of the planet water resources. It is found. So this is one of the important point to be noted down. The freshwater is mostly found in the glacier, river, lake, in the atmosphere, and in the underground. If you want the proportion, means the glacier and ice cap contain around 68.7% of the fresh water, and groundwater have around 30.1%. Okay, and the surface water like lake and river having less than 1%. In that less than 1%, around 0.8% are in the form of the waters are in the form of permafrost. Sorry, forest name frost. FROST. Permafrost. அதாவது underground one layer full of orange இருக்கும்ல with ice மாதிரி. So that is called permafrost. So now come to the ocean. So on the world map, okay, observe the 5 ocean. Just recall: Pacific Ocean, Atlantic Ocean, Indian Ocean, and Arctic. and the southern Antarctic Ocean. These are the 5 major oceans. Just to recall it, and some of the basic definition they have given. What is marine? It is related to or found in the ocean and sea. And what is flora? That also you know very well. It is related to the plant of the particular region or the period of time. Fauna means what is fauna? It's the animal or life of the particular region. So marine and flora and fauna we normally we used to call like this. So although we have listed 5 ocean, it is clear from the map. Okay, these are leave it. The marine flora include tiny plants called algae and all kinds of seaweed. And marine fauna, just now we have seen thousands of species of colorful fish, dolphin, whales, and countless mysterious deep sea creatures. அதாவது deep sea na sudden ஒரு 4000 5000 மீட்டர் கீழே போச்சுன்னா the light will not reach to the seabed, but at the same time the seabed also having some sea creatures are there. Okay, so each part of the ocean from the sunlit surface to the dark depth has its own diverse life forms. அதாவது என்ன சொல்றாங்கன்னா சூரிய ஒளி ஊடுருவ வரைக்கும் அங்கேயும் we have the marines having life. சூரிய ஒளி படாத இடம், அதாவது deep depth of the ocean, there also there's a life, the marine life is there. This is what they say. Then so these are the 5 oceans: the Pacific Ocean and Atlantic Ocean. So then Indian Ocean, Arctic, and Southern Ocean, that is Antarctica. So these are the major ocean you can see in the map. Then some of the continents also there: North America and South America, Asia, Europe and Asia together it is called Eurasian continent. Then Australia continent. So now you can fill it. It's like actually it's a 6th standard level book now. That is why they have given such kind of tabulation. What are the oceans are in the northern hemisphere and southern hemisphere. And here's some fact you can note it down. Pacific Ocean is the largest of all. After Pacific Ocean, Atlantic Ocean is the second. Indian Ocean is third largest, and the Southern Ocean is the 4th one, and the smallest ocean is the Arctic Ocean. Okay, this is important. This one noted down if you are not aware. So Arctic is the smallest one. The smallest one. So Pacific is the biggest or largest. Okay, so this is the first one. Our Indian Ocean is the third one. Okay, and Southern Ocean is the 4th, and second is followed by the Atlantic Ocean. This is second. This is the 4th, and this is the 5th one. Then come to the next one: the oceans and disaster. So the disaster in ocean means mainly it will talks about the tsunami. Okay, tsunami is nothing but if there is an earthquake under the water, okay, that will generate a big waveform that that can travel around thousands of kilometers. This is what. Okay, and that tsunami is due to another one concept we will study later, the plate tectonics. Plate tectonics means plate movement. Okay, and different types of movements are there. The convergence movement, if 2 plates are convergence, there's a convergence movement. And if 2 plates are moving away from each other, the divergence. And if the movement is like transfer movement, it's a transverse movement. Transverse movement. Okay, so this is what different types of plate tectonics movements are there. So if these movements are happens under the sea, then a different landform or land feature will produce. Okay, so tsunami is one of the due to one of the plate tectonic movement under the water. Okay, so when two plates are transverse movement, so a huge amount of water will be released. Okay, first it will absorb, then it will release. Okay, so that releasing of water also will move the, around thousands of kilometers per hour. Okay, so that will affect the coastal areas and the habited areas. This is what happened in the 2004 on December 2004. India and another 13 countries around Indian Ocean were struck by the powerful tsunami caused by earthquake in the Indonesia side. So Indonesia Kila, the earthquake happened. So more than 2 lakh people lost their life. In India, the Andaman Nicobar Island above and on the coast of the Tamil Nadu and Kerala severely affected. Okay, so now such kind of tsunami also can be preventable by early tsunami warning systems nowadays they have found. So if any earthquake happened under the sea, it will be noticed by the early warning system, and immediately people whoever in the nearby seashore will be evacuated easily. And this one. Okay, now come to the another one major topic, that is continent. Okay, just now we have seen what is sea and what are the disaster in seas or oceans, and what are the major oceans are there we have seen, and the difference between the sea, then bay and gulf, then how the water has been distributed in the northern hemisphere and southern hemisphere. So these are all we have covered in the one part. The another part of this chapter having about talks about continent. Okay, continent Tamil we will call it a கண்டங்கள் சொல்லுவோம்ல, ஆப்பிரிக்கா கண்டம், அமெரிக்கா கண்டம், ஆசியா கண்டம். So continent. இதுல என்ன கன்ஃபியூஸ் வரும்னா, sometimes they people used to call there are 5 continents, 4 continents, 6 or 7 continents. So it's these list of continents are for our choice only. This is what very clearly they have mentioned. How many continents can you count? The answer is not so simple, as they can be counted in several ways. Depending on our choice, we may list any number of continents between 4 and 7. Yeah, அப்படின்னா the North America and South America generally considered to be a 2 continent, or we can consider a single continent. ஏன்னா land mass ன்னு பார்த்தீங்கன்னா ஆப்பிரிக்கா, நார்த் ஆப்பிரிக்கா, அமெரிக்கா and South America, it's a single land mass தான். Okay, but for our choice, we are separating or we are considering those 2 continents as the separated one. அதே மாதிரி similarly the Europe and Asia, okay, considered as a 2 continent, but if you are talking about the land mass, there is single land mass. Okay, so for historical and cultural reason, the Europe evolution has been very different. That is why we are differentiating Asia as different continent and Europe is different continents. Okay, but geologists, okay, those who are related to geography, and they often called as a single continent, that is called Eurasia, Europe and Asia. Okay, and this is what in now here. So how the continents are being counted means like this. If you talks about 4 continents, then it's all about Africa, Eurasia, okay, single one, then America, then Antarctica, Australia. That's all. Australia is a separate one. Antarctica is under the in the South Pole, and in the America, that then Africa and Eurasia together they consider the one single landmass. If anyone says there are 4 continents, if you say there are 5 continents, means Africa and take the Eurasia separately, Africa and Eurasia. Rest of the things are similar, America, Antarctica, and Australia. And again, if you say there are 6 continents, then again you can separate the America. America you can separate it to North America continent and South America continent. Okay, if you say there are 7 continents, then only one landmass you did not separate, that is Eurasia. If you separate Eurasia and Europe and Asia, then there are 7 continents. See now, Africa and Antarctica, Asia, Australia, Europe, North America, and South America. So in practice, the last list of 7 continents is one of the most widely adopted and used. Okay, so there is no need to get confused. How many continents means? You can say 4, 5, or 6, but at last they have adopted the 7 continent. And why they are saying 4 continent, 5 continent means some geologists they consider single landmass as the one continent, but based on the culture and other reason, so we have split it into, we have named into 7 continents. And this one, you know, the Olympic ring. Okay, it represents the 5 continents, Africa and America together. That is why it comes 5. Otherwise, North America and South America, then Asia and Australia and Europe. Each things mentioned like this. Then island you know very well. Okay, island means a land mass surrounded by water. That is island. And in India, we have 2 major group of islands, Andaman Nicobar and Lakshadweep Islands. So that means the continents are then one more here, one good question, sir. Continents are so surrounded by water, but because they are too so large, okay, that is why they are not considered as island. And if you take Australia is surrounded by water. Okay, as per the definition, if the land mass is surrounded by water, then it should be called island. But why we called Australia as the continent means it's a large landmass. That is why Australia is called as a continent. So there are lakhs of island on the planet in different size, and some of the fact they are given. Greenland is the largest island. It's located on the globe. You can locate. And India has around 1,300 small islands. They grouped into Andaman Nicobar Island and the Lakshadweep Islands in the Arabian Sea. Okay, and some more factual point is there. From since 1981 onwards, in India, Antarctica program has been exploring. Program is started to explore Antarctica. Okay, so we had one research station is there in 1983. India established its first scientific base station. Scientific base station is nothing but a research station that is called Dakshin Gangotri. Okay, 2 more bases also established. Around 40 teams of Indian scientists used to go there, and they are conducting the research in the Antarctica region. Okay, and what are the then oceans and the life? So in this paragraph, no, nothing, not that much. Some of this line, some of the important. If there is no ocean, without ocean, there is no rainfall, then earth would be desert. Moreover, more than half of the world oxygen is produced by the ocean flora. That is why the oceans are called the planet's lungs. So these are some of the points you can note it down. And the United Nations declared June 8 as a World Ocean Day. This is some of the fact, like TNPC and other PCS exam, it will be used. So some of the summary they have given. The Earth's surface has vast water bodies called. This is a summary. You just read it. And the northern hemisphere has more land than the southern hemisphere. Okay, that's all about this chapter. And any doubt in this chapter? I think this is sufficient, I think. That's why I said in the beginning, it's a 6th standard book. So 6th standard book, if you start reading half an hour, 1 hour, you can read it, and but noted down some other points. When we are moving to another the upper classes, the content will be more. And come to the next one. This is chapter 3. Is it visible? Land, form, and life.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So this is talks about the mountains and hills and all. இது கொஞ்சம் வேகமா பார்த்துடலாம். So land formனா என்ன? How the, so suppose here one example they have. If you are traveling from if you are traveling by road from the region knows Chota Nagpur in the Jharkhand to and reaching the Prayagraj in the Uttar Pradesh, or and go on to Almora in the Uttarakhand. So on the way you are seeing different landscape. In NCERT they have given the northern side. Otherwise you can we can, if you are start your journey from the Chennai to Kanyakumari, Kanyakumari to Kerala, or Chennai to Pondicherry. Okay, so different landscape you will observe, or landform. So major land, so how these landforms lands are formed, what actually it is. This is what this topics gives. That is why in the beginning I made it landform and lives. And as usual they have started with one quote from the Atharva Veda. Okay, free from the burden of human beings, may the earth with many height, slope, and great plains, bearing plants endowed with various powers, spread out for us and show us her riches. The earth is my mother, and I am her child. So this should be our every human being must feel like this. We should. Then only the mother earth will not be polluted. Okay, so whenever you need some of in the mains exam, you can quote this Atharva Veda, Bhumi Sukta, the hymn of the earth you can mention, and very beautifully it includes everything. May the earth having many heights. It talks about the mountain and slopes. Okay, and great plains. Okay, and these mountains and slopes and plains having the plants and endowed with varied power. Each one is having varied power and spread out for us, not for so everything is for us, and show us her riches. At the same time they are showing we are the more powerful than the human being. That is why the earth is my mother and I am her child. This is what the hymn talks about the landform and the life on the land. So now the major landform we can divide into 3 categories: mountains, plateau, and plains. Okay, so plateau means the PW means plateaus, and plains means Samaveli. Okay, so these, so one by one we can say the mountains. What is mountain, what is plateau, and what is plains? So mountains are landforms that are much higher than the surrounding landscape. ஓகே, சாதாரண ஒரு சமவெளியில இருந்து ஆர் பிளேட்டூ கம்பேர் பண்ணும்போது, இஃப் த லேண்ட் ஃபார்ம் இஸ் டூ ஹை, around 800 meter or 400 meter or 500 meter, then we can call that is mountain. Okay, and some another characteristics of mountains we can say it has broad base. அத அடித்தளம் வந்து ரொம்ப broad-ஆ இருக்கும், and slopes are very steep slopes, and the narrow summits. Summit means உச்சில இருக்கும்ல. Okay, சிகரம் சொல்லுவோம் தமிழ்ல. So narrow summits, these are all the main features of the mountains. So depending upon their height, and some mountains are covered with snow. Okay, if the mountains are less in height, the snow cover will not be there, because that we will see in the atmospheric layer. At lower altitude, the snow melts every summer and turns into water that feeds the river. At high altitude, the snow may never melt, so leaving the mountain permanently snow capped. This is the difference. ரொம்ப உயரமா இருந்ததுன்னா அதான் the higher altitude highest height mountains இருந்தா அப்படின்னா snow will not melt. ஏன்னா மேல போக போக நமக்கு வந்து டெம்பரேச்சர் வந்து ரெடியூஸ் ஆகும். That is that we will study in the inward temperature in the climatology. அதாவது எப்படி வந்து பாட்டம் டு டாப் தான் நமக்கு வந்து டெம்பரேச்சர் வேரி ஆகும். ஸோ ஹையர் ஆல்டிடியூட்ல வந்து டெம்பரேச்சர் கம்மியா இருக்கும். அதனால ஸ்னோ வில் பி தேர், இட் வோன்ட் கீப் ஆன் அக்குமுலேட், இட் வோன்ட் மெல்ட். ஆனா அட் த சேம் டைம் லோவர் ஆல்டிடியூடா இருக்கும்போது சம்மர்ல வந்து த ஸ்னோ வில் மெல்ட் அண்ட் தட் வில் ஃபீட் த ரிவர்ஸ். அண்ட் இன் திஸ் பிக்சர் இட் கவர்ஸ் ஆல் த த்ரீ லேண்ட்ஃபார்ம். ஸோ this is mountain. Okay, the highest altitude mountains, they have snow covers, and this is plateaus. Okay, the plain la irundhu the elevated surface, that is called plateaus, and this is the plains, the surrounding the rivers. Okay, that is the plains are there. Okay, so some other highlands, suppose compared to mountains, if some other heights are having lower height, at the same time these are that lower height landform also having the less steep slopes than rounded tops are there, then that is called hills. அப்போ ஹில்லுக்கும் மவுண்டன்ஸ்க்கும் உள்ள டிஃபரன்ஸ் இதுதான். ஸோ மவுண்டன்னா highest altitude, deep slopes, wider space, okay, and peaks will be there. Peaks the summits. ஹில்ஸ்ங்கிறது என்னது? ரவுண்டட் டாப், அதாவது பீக் இருக்காது, ரவுண்டட் டாப் இருக்கும். ஹைட் கம்பேர்ட் டு மவுண்டன் இஸ் லோவர் ஹைட் அண்ட் ஸ்டீப்ஸ் ஆர் வெரி லெஸ். ரொம்ப ஸ்டீப்பா, the slopes are not that much steep. So this is the difference between hills and mountains. Okay, and in the box, green box, what you know, unless if you are not in the Himalayan region like Kashmir, Ladakh, and Himachal Pradesh, Uttarakhand, and Arunachal Pradesh, you may never have seen snow. Rest of India, the precipitation in the form of rain and hail. The precipitation definition they have given. Many times the students used to consider precipitation is only for rain. It is not like this. So precipitation means water from the atmosphere reaching the ground in any form. அது ரெயினா இருக்கலாம், it is snowவா இருக்கலாம், or hailா இருக்கலாம், are the most common form of precipitation. Okay, once again you read, water from the atmosphere reaching the ground in the form, in any form, like rain, in the form of rain, in the form of snow, or in the form of hail. They are called the precipitation. Okay, and covering the landscape, the soft and beautiful white blanket, the snow and hailstones are nothing but precipitation of water in the solid state. This is what. Okay, this is green. So just for your understanding. And some of the mountains they have given, idu note paniko. Mount Everest, you know, around 8,848 meter height, the highest one. So it is located in Himalaya. Okay, the peak or the Everest peak or Everest summit is located, the ridge in the Vilimbu between Nepal and China. Okay, then another one mount they have given, Mount Aconcagua. இது எங்க இருக்குன்னா, it is in located in Andes, I think. Andes mountain and Andes range, and Andes range, it is also called Stone Sentinel. And Mount Kilimanjaro, it is in Africa. Okay, and Mount Blanc, it is in Alps. It is in Alps. Okay, Alps in Western Europe. This is also called White Mountain. Then Kanchenjunga, you know very well, is the third highest. It's around 8.586 meter. It's located in the Nepal, Sikkim border. Nepal Sikkim border. This is the Himalaya range. Himalaya range. And Mount Anaimudi, you know, it's the highest peak in South India. The highest peak in South India. That is why it is called Everest of South India. Called Everest of South India. These are the major 6 mountains of the world. And most of the world's mountains are grouped in the mountain ranges, such as Himalaya in Asia, Alps in Europe. So if you are having time, take the map. School the blank map வாங்குவீங்கல்ல, the physical map. Okay, not the political map. Take the physical map. அதுல வந்து இந்த மவுண்டன்ஸ்லாம் கொஞ்சம் மார்க் பண்ணும். the physical map of India and the world. ரெண்டு வாங்கிக்கோ, 5-10 வாங்க. இந்த என்னென்ன பிளேஸ்லாம் நம்ம சொல்ற மாதிரி NCERT வருதோ, you marked all the places in that map. Okay, so நாளைக்குள்ள முடிச்சு வச்சிரு. அதுல you mark the Himalaya, Alps range, Andes range in South America. Okay, and here they have grouped into all the 6 mountain ஒரே பிக்சர்ல with height they have mentioned here. என்னன்னா top to bottomல Mount Everest between Tibet and Nepal, and Kanchenjunga, it's between Nepal and Indian state of Sikkim, are the 2 highest peak of the Himalayan range. Upper third one is the Mount Aconcagua in the South America. So these are all important. ஏன்னா ப்ரிலிம்க்கு வரும்போது you will forget everything. So இதெல்லாம் வந்து ஒரு நோட்ல தனித்தனியா எழுதி வச்சுக்கோ. These facts you have to recall periodically. And it is a highest peak in Andes. So Mount Kilimanjaro in the Eastern Africa. It's an isolated mountain that is not a part of any range. So another one important point about Kilimanjaro. Our Mount Blanc in the Western Europe, the highest mountain of the Alps. Our Anaimudi is in Kerala. Anai Peak, the highest mountain in the South India. So these are the factual, you take it separately. Then some of the term they have given definition. Mountain forest na, moss na, lichens na. So 5 years, 6 years back, with this definition they asked one question in the prelims: what is lichens? So mountain forest, a type of forest that grows in the mountain region. That's mountain forest. So mountains with a tall and sharp peak like Himalaya relatively young, which means they were formed recently in the earth history. Either this one we will study the formation of the mountains. Okay, yeah, where we will study in the depth, like young folded mountain and old mountains. Okay, Himalaya is one of the young mountains, and it's a young folded mountain. Okay, why we are calling then oldest mountain, that is an Aravalli range is the oldest mountain. Why we call the Aravalli is the oldest mountain, that we will study in the here already it has mentioned. That is still millions of years ago. Shorter and more rounded mountains, hills like Aravalli range are the much older. Okay, and Aravalli range also called relic mountain. ஏன் அப்படின்னா ரெலிக்னா அப்படி மொட்டை, அதாவது மொட்டையா நிற்கிறது, அதாவது because of the erosion. Then as with the Himalayas, upliftment as well as erosion. Okay, leave it. Then mountain environment. This mountain environment, these 3 terms are comes here. So mountain slopes are often covered with a type of forest called mountain forest. And mountain forest என்ன இருக்கும்? Conifer trees இருக்கும், pines, firs, spruce and deodar. They are all common. இது எல்லாமே தனியா நோட் பண்ணி வச்சுக்கோ. Okay, major, because once again we will study about these 3 in the natural vegetation when we are moving for 8th and 9th NCERT. And tall, and these conifer trees grow tall and cone shaped with thin pointed leaves. One question I'm giving into your mind: why these conifer trees are cone shaped with thin and pointed leaves? Idu naalik enakku you give the answer. Okay, because these trees are grows in the higher altitude. எதனால அந்த கோன் ஷேப்ல the trees இருக்குது, ஏன் pointed leaves இருக்குது? I need answer tomorrow. And higher. Okay, and the trees give ways to grasses, mosses and lichen. Mosses, lichen, here they have given the definition. Mosses, yeah, small green plant. அதுல flowers இருக்காது, roots இருக்காது, but it's like a full cover பண்ணிருக்கும் green colorல. And lichens na a plant like organism that generally clings to rocks, walls on trees. That is called lichens. So now here are two verses from the long poem by Kalidasa, who lived in the 1500 years ago. And he mentioned in the Kumara Sambhava, idhen thaniya note pannikko, Kalidasa, the invocation of the Himalayas. He in our Himalaya patti or part, in the north rise Himalaya, the lord of the mountains, like a living god who measures the earth and stretches from the west to the east ocean. And idu vastuko, he talks about Himalaya. Then some of the flora and fauna here they have mentioned. Okay, these things we will see tomorrow along with the other chapter, the Plato and all. Well, I give this chapter and rest of the 2 chapters in the group. I will share chapter 3 and 4 in the group. You read it once before we start the next class. I think today we will wind up. Idvaraiku edha doubt undana keluko. But whatever the fact I said, you make it separately in a notebook or in a paper for the revision purpose. Okay.